Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Dr. Cammy and Karen Go Keto, where we are transitioning from a standard American diet to a keto / carnivore lifestyle and diet. We are looking at this as a way of living and looking at lots of different subjects other than just the idea of eating, what we eat. Today we are on lesson number we're on lesson number 6 of a 7-part series, which is focusing on paying attention to your feelings and your emotions and how paying attention to that can help you eat healthier. And today we are talking about enhanced self-awareness. So, a couple of the things that I do to keep myself self-aware of what's going on is a food plan and a food diary. I say food plan and food diary because I'm working on a food plan. It's been very hard for me to implement my plan, and I've been in general very good with my diary and writing down what I eat after I eat it. I'm trying to work on writing down what I eat before I eat it and having an actual plan. I know that that's going to give me a lot of freedom around the food, and that taking the time and energy and effort to plan my food and to shop and to have it ready to prepare and have prepare days is going to really help me. And I've just really been resisting that and unable to do that. I think part of that is because I don't want to really realize that I have an unhealthy relationship with food, which is what we discussed in our last previous video. So that's the first thing that I wanted to bring up as far as self-awareness. And what do you think, Karen, about being self-aware?
Well, I think that for me, self-awareness is what makes it easiest for me to be self-aware with my food choices is by doing the same thing all the time. I usually eat breakfast. I try to keep it to one meal a day. And I know sometimes if I do more than one meal a day, it's usually a snack eating cheese and nuts, which is always a go-to and not necessarily the best go-to. But I try to have a very large breakfast that's like 1,600 calories, 2,000 calories, so that I don't have to think about I don't like to have to think about food and what's up next and cooking it because I usually eat out for my breakfast. It makes it's a little expensive, but it works for me as far as staying on plan because I don't have to think outside the little box of I'm eating out. Somebody's going to make the food for me, bring it to me. All I have to do is eat it and make sure that the choices on my plate are good, and then it goes away. And then I don't have to think about the food in the house at all. The food in the house is not my food. That's how I look at it. And um, that is the awareness for me that keeps me on track.
Right. So there's lots of different ways that you can get it done, and just learning more about yourself and exploring your different options is what you can do. And I know a lot of people prep on the weekends. You meal prep all day on Sunday for most of your week, and then your salads and things could be made later in the week. I'm trying to work on a food prep where I prep on Sunday and prep again on Wednesday, because Wednesday is a pretty open day for me right now. So those are things to think about as far as enhanced self-awareness. The other thing I think is very important, I wanted to bring up the topic of reflective practices and being, journaling is a really nice way for me to be reflective and to think about things that you're doing right and things that could be improved. And also at night, I like to do a little inventory of my day and give myself credit where credit is due, even just for little things like making my bed in the morning and brushing my teeth so that I feel good about some of the self-care that I'm doing, and evaluating how you ate that day, how you managed your stress and your coping mechanisms and your triggers, and um, how you could maybe work on having that be different or better in the future.
I think too, the reflection at night I think is really good. I do both morning, take a look at the day and how does the day look? And at the end of the day, everything I keep I keep it in my Google Calendar and I just change colors. If I've done the things on my list, I turn it one color. And if I don't do it, I turn it another color. And if it needs to move on to the next day or another day, I just move it on in my calendar. And that includes little things like writing, filming with you, writing in my journal, making food for my mom in the morning, and it does. It makes you feel like you've gotten something accomplished, and it lets you be, literally aware of where you've been spending your time and what you've been up to with it. The other thing I think for self awareness is to um, know your food choices, right? Like there are certain things that will always trigger me, and I know I need to stay away from them. I know I need to stay away from certain surroundings, certain, that's one of the reasons why I don't cook at home. I mean, I cook for my mom, but it's one of those things that for me, I know that when I start doing that, I go off plan because either the time is different and I don't get the thing done in time, right? So I don't get the food done. So now I'm looking to eat something else while I'm cooking the food that now I'm going to have to eat tomorrow. And now I'm upset that I have to eat it tomorrow. And food prep, like you said, is a very good way of staying on plan, but also you can go, especially Costco has a lot of good foods, but so does your local grocery store that are prepared, and they're really pushing some high protein that, maybe is not the best because it's processed, but it's a good way to transition, right? If you don't feel comfortable with stepping into the kitchen and cooking everything, you could have, you can get tri-tips, you can get burnt ends, you can get ribs, right? If you're going to eat ribs on the keto diet, just don't eat the sauce on it, right? Cook the ribs, they're in the sauce, wipe the sauce off, and you've taken away a lot of the stuff. And you can eat a lot of ribs, right? Because they're not that high in calories if you're not, or carbohydrates if you're not eating the sauce, because it's the sauce that gives you all the carbohydrates. Um, and sometimes prepared salad dressings, even though it's not what I would highly recommend for people, it's a good way to transition. Oil, if can you transition to just an oil and vinegar dressing if you're going to be eating vegetables or salads? Um, and just know, like for Cammy and I, we know that it's a transition. I'd like to give up salads, but right now I use salads along with meat because I'm used to eating meat and salads, and that's how it fills me up so that I don't think about it again. If instead of doing breakfast, I'm doing lunch or dinner and I'm doing a steak.
Yeah, so it is a transition, and some days are different than others. For me, some days I'm eating, more meat and not vegetables, and then the next day I'm eating some vegetables, eggs. I've been eating a lot of eggs and making uh eggs with ham and onion that I saute, and then the scrambled eggs, and then I make enough of it to eat it for 2 or 3 meals. And I try to limit the cheese. I'm watching, sugar is a big trigger for me, and I'm working on getting that completely out of my diet. I basically do have it out of my diet except when I'm going off plan. So, and dairy and nuts are triggers, are what we call borderline foods in my sugar addiction world, along with grains and fruit and nut butters. So those are things that for people that have sugar issues and just continue to want more and more of it, which of course is sugar's full of is a carb. Those kinds of things, getting those out of your plan can be helpful, and those are things that I love. And so, oh, look at that language, Karen.
That's right. I know, but it never escapes me, Cammy. Can you find something better to say than those are the
Oh
foods that
my
you
gosh,
love?
are things that are not healthy for me at this time. Oh my gosh, this is so cool though. This is awareness on video that we're catching
It is.
me saying these things, thinking it, speaking it. Now I just have to write down the right answer.
Yeah, well, the question is, why do you feel like you have to say that about sugar? Instead
Because
of
it's
saying,
been comfort and soothing me forever.
so, but it's been making you fat and miserable forever.
Well, not forever. It worked initially. It certainly is not working now. That's for sure.
Well, I don't think it's done the other thing for you forever either.
Probably not.
There you go. So, so,
So self-awareness is not just about what you're eating. It's about the words, what you say, how you interact with others, the thoughts in your own head, what you journal, all
you
those
know,
things. And I'm
this
becoming aware, folks.
and the self-awareness, Cammy, think about it. Like for you, for both of us. Like for me, the self-awareness of knowing that when I worry about my mom, right, it causes stress. and it makes, it makes things, that's one of the reasons, because I live with my mom and she is confined to a wheelchair, and her health does concern me on a daily basis. It causes a lot of stress. It's why I want everything else to be easy and why I go out to eat and don't eat home. It's also the time that I leave the house so that I have some time where I'm not in this physical, situation. And for you, it's kind of similar. It's your mother that's always been a trigger for you, but it takes a long time to figure that out, right? I mean, how it took a long time. It took over a year to figure out that that was the biggest. You know what I mean? Not that it was, because you'd always say, "Oh, I saw my mom again, and boy, she's driving me crazy." But to finally get to the point where it says, "Driving me crazy causes me to eat, poorly." It's a
Well, and the other thing is too, is once you figure it out, I became aware of it before I could manage it in a in a healthy
right.
way. I
Yeah.
was very aware of what I was doing when I was eating off plan as I would go and see her or leave her. And
Yeah.
so installing the new habits took time too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's all about being aware. And this is,
Oh,
watching our videos is a good way for you to start your awareness.
thank you so much for watching our videos. Subscribe, like, say hi. We love you
Comment. We love
guys.
you. Take care.
Bye.